Hey, are you ready to take control of your financial future? Welcome to Private Money Club. Private Money Club is the ultimate online platform connecting real estate entrepreneurs with private money lenders just like you. Whether you're looking to fund your next deal or lend money to grow your wealth, Private Money Club is your go-to resource. You can post deals, find funding, connect with other like-minded professionals. It's just a community. It's a community that you need to plug into. If you're new to the game, no problem. Our Learn platform and our weekly coaching webinars and our on-demand resources are here to guide you every step of the way. Join a thriving network of real estate experts who are already making an impact, and they're waiting to partner with you. So Private Money Club gives you the tools, the training, the connections, and everything you need to achieve your financial goals. So why don't you start now by going to privatemoneyclub.com. We'll see you inside. Hey, you need to become your own bank. And it's as simple as changing one thing, and that is where your money goes first. I mean, think about it. Household debts in this country are at all-time highs. You got tons of market volatility. You got the potential for Social Security running out of money. You've got global uncertainty, political divide, and you have to figure out where you're going to put your hard-earned savings. I mean, this is one of those times in history where the rich are getting richer, and it is time to learn the secrets of the wealthy. But here's the good news. Every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I put on a free webinar where I teach you how to take back control of your money by teaching you how to become your own bank. So click the link below and let's get started. So let's go into the app, because the app was created after a dating site, believe it or not. So people with money and people that need money. Phone, swipe left. Ooh, I like that one. Swipe right. You want to go on. If you got money, you want to swipe left through all the deals. When you find one you like, boom, you're connected. How much more difficult does this really need to be? This isn't rocket science. They want you to think it is because they want control of your money. It is time to take back control of our money. I want to invite you to a free interactive webinar that we're doing to teach you how to get prepared for what's about to happen and how you can grow, preserve, and protect your wealth and get it ready for a recession or maybe the next Great Depression. So all I need you to do is click the link below. You're not going to want to miss this with all this stuff going on. Are you sick of having your money lying around not doing anything? Well, we've got the solution for you. PrivateMoneyClub.com. Back to you, Chris. So that's what it is. Private Money Club was created for you and for all of us. So I've got something special. Since you're here, you're listening to us talk to you about the infinite banking concept, I wanted to make an offer. Private Money Club is something that will benefit each of you, but we've got what's called the Accelerator. The Private Money Club Accelerator is a coaching program that takes together the knowledge that you'll need to be your own bank and puts it together with the opportunities in Private Money Club so that now you learn and apply the knowledge. Check it out. We got a very special offer for you to be part of the next Accelerator coaching program and get you into Private Money Club so your money starts working for you.
Hey everybody, it's Buff Finance Guy here, ready to show you how to make some serious gains. But not only in the gym, with your wallet too. Most people put their money in the bank doing absolutely nothing for them. But I'm gonna show you how it doesn't have to be that way. So take Andrew here. His money has just been sitting lazy in the bank. But all he has to do is change one thing, and that's where the money goes first, and everything changes. Just change where your money goes first, silly.
Wait, just one change?
Yeah, that's it. Instead of sending it to the bank, you send it to your very own banking system. And your money can grow and get stronger, just like me.
It's time for Money School TV. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
In The Money School TV strives to bring you the most relevant content of how money really works, past, present, and future. It's not a one-size-fits-all system. This platform provides you with ways to implement strategic decisions while avoiding fear-based decisions at all costs. Totally digital with new content added all the time on financial wealth creation strategies and how to regain control of your money. This 2-hour monthly group coaching with Chris Naugle is available now for only $19 per month. This is something you don't want to miss. Click the link below to get access now.
Whoa! I feel great. My money's not being lazy anymore, it's getting swole. Just like me.
Attaboy, Andrew. No more lazy cash. Now your money is growing, strong, totally under your control.
Wow, thanks, Buff Bayonet Sky. Now I'm ready to grow my wealth and feel as good as I look.
So if you want to learn more on how you can compound your money and your muscles, I'm at BYOB.
You have to be a part of it.
Do whatever it takes to get here.
Get your ass up and come.
So here we are out in Las Vegas, Nevada, at Dream Racing for the experience. We brought the whole team, the whole clan out here to race exotic sports cars like this GT4 RS. This is what making memories is all about.
Together, we create experiences for each other, around each other, and memories we get to create.
This is my third experience and I love it. Being at the experience brings out the camaraderie, being around like-minded people. It just brings out the best in you.
I don't know why the rest of you aren't here. It's an amazing event. I have never missed one since they started 3 years ago.
The breathing exercises to the mental, the brain Kessler to now the racing to just the overall mindset. Your network is your net worth.
We can sit in a room all day, listen to the speakers, or we can come out here, make some quick laps, learn how to drive, and make memories that last a lifetime. You should be here next time.
Well, the biggest thing I hope that people get is something that they can actually apply in their lives. You know, that's the biggest thing for any of these events that we want. We want people to leave here not just riled up, not just excited, but actually going out and doing something that'll put them in a better financial situation, help their family. And for the speakers, my goal is that they go out and they impact the audience and bring something the audience never had exposure to that allows them to then fill in that piece that they're looking for. I'm going to be talking about more lease options. I'm going to be talking about equity shares. I'm going to be talking about a bunch of fun stuff today. Because again, I'm not here to teach about how to do those deals. I'm here to teach about how to invest in those deals.
Filled with individuals that are like-minded, that are at the top of their craft, they're at the top of their game. And for anybody that's an attendee, it's just a mind-blowing experience.
It's almost going to be hard to speak anywhere else but here because it was such a great experience. I felt like, I don't know. It was amazing. Nothing less than amazing, literally.
At the PMC Money Tank event, which is an epic event that we're putting together that does one thing and one thing only. Makes everybody money. It brings people with money together with people that need money. It's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You just smash them together and everybody wins.
Wednesday, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Going live!
All right. It's another week, which means it's another What the F happened. And we are super pumped to be here. Stephen and I have some pretty exciting stuff to talk about. Like, is the economy doing good or is it not doing good? It depends on what metrics you look at. We're going to really dive deep into that. We're going to talk about what's going on in Washington, D.C., and what's not going on, or what is going on, or what's going to go on in Chicago. Those are going to be some of the hot topics we're going to hit. We're going to talk about the economy. And on this show, we always do the same thing. We rant, we rave, and, well, as you saw last week, we certainly, or Stephen certainly, will argue about what's in the news and how it's perceived. So this is going to be an exciting show for us all. So sit back, get ready. We're about to launch into this. Stephen, what do you have to say about what today's topic? There's a lot of stuff going on in the news. I mean, from stuff being thrown out the White House and everything else. But what do you think are some key topics that we want to hit on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning?
Yeah, it feels like a Tuesday, with Labor Day on Monday, so the week's all messed up. But honestly, I don't know what's going on in the news. College football kicked off this past weekend, and it was wild. All kinds of upsets. Florida State Seminoles shocking the world with the win against Alabama. Miami taking out Notre Dame. All kinds of wild games. So, Chris, that's all I know that's been going on. But no, seriously, a lot happening in the world for sure. And then, of course, NFL football kicks off tomorrow. So my world of sports, absolutely love this time of year. Fall is here. Florida starts to get a little bit cooler, so like high 80s with high humidity instead of the 90s and high humidity. So little twitch of coolness out there. We got some waves pumping though with these hurricanes that keep coming at us, but thankfully turning north and just staying out in the Atlantic Ocean, which is always great to see. But baseball season's off, back to effect with Little League baseball, and just a beautiful time of year, man. I love the fall time. So
yeah,
happy to be here. Lots to get into though with the news, and of course, we're kicking things off with the What Would the Rockefeller series, wealth webinar series, starting today at 1 p.m. Eastern. So I've been really getting into that, listening to the audiobook all weekend. Really good stuff, Garrett Gunderson there. So he'll be joining us today. But all right, Chris, let's get into this news, man. It's going to be good.
All right. Yeah. Just one thing on the NFL, obviously being in Buffalo, we got the Buffalo Bills who have had their whole series kind of airing on HBO. It's created a huge buzz around here in the Buffalo areas. But you know what? One of the things, like the opening game, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not a big football fan like you are, Stephen, but one of the opening games for the Bills to play the Ravens. What's that big dude's name in the Ravens? What is his name?
Lamar Jackson, quarterback.
Maybe that's him. I don't know. The unstoppable dude on the Ravens. But that's going to be an exciting game. But nonetheless, let's dive into one of our favorite topics. That is what the F economy. Should be fun, Stephen. The economy. Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it just staying the same? Does anyone even know? Because I'm looking here at this article, and I'll have you pull it up on CNBC, but the U.S. economic growth was revised upward. So the U.S. economy's second quarter growth has been revised upward to an annualized 3.3 real GDP, which was increased from 3. Okay, a 3% to a 3.3% increase in GDP. This boost was driven by robust consumer spending and surging investments in the artificial intelligence and tech sectors. I think that sums it all up. You got the tech sector. Gosh, dude, I feel like we're living through the late 90s, early 2000s again. I really do. Stephen, what's your take on this? I mean, the economy obviously is just on fire, doing great, but yet on Main Street, it sure does not seem that way, which we're going to cover in a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely a strange time right now. I mean, you have the stock market at all-time highs. All the Bitcoin bros are continuing to kill it with crypto coin prices. If you happen to own real estate, you're very house rich. We just had a whole wealth webinar series about how to tap into that equity and take advantage of that. But for the regular everyday working person that might not have a lot of investments, doesn't have a lot in the stock market, they're really hurting. I mean, the bills at the grocery store. I mean, Chris, we grocery shop like everybody else, and I don't really pay attention to grocery prices, but when every single day it seems like it's $100 or $200 at the local grocery store. It's like, holy cow. And I have a family with a almost 10-year-old son. I mean, I have friends that have 3-4 teenagers in the house, and it's just wild. The price of cars, the price of everything just seems to be so high. And so it's definitely a mixed bag there, depending on kind of where you fall on that financial, ladder. You definitely have different opinions about this economy right now, but it's something to keep an eye on. With this report here, the economy, the revised growth up, it seems to be interesting. I'll put it that way, because over the last 4 or 5 years, seems like every single report was then, the headlines came out. It was a great report. And then a few months later, it was all revised way down. Well, now we're getting these reports. It's mediocre growth, but all of a sudden the revisions go up. Is that political? Is that planned? Or is that just the way it's flowing? Because nobody could read what Trump is doing, but it's definitely something interesting, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of interesting stuff with Trump and the federal appeals court and tariffs and all that stuff. We're going to get into that. But, I gotta say, we talk to a lot of people every single week. I mean, hundreds of people. And, it's very skewed. It's very strange how people are perceiving the economy. Some, like, their business is doing great. And for others, it's just awful. Like, anybody in real estate right now is feeling the severe pinch. And it's been like that in real estate. I mean, real estate has been a really tough sector for going on, last couple of years. Some people are raving, it's, doing great. The price of real estate's never been higher, but things are slowing down there big time. The home builder sentiment's hurting a little bit, but yet contractors still will blow you off when you call them up to have them come out and give you a quote. They'll still not show up. They're still saying they're so busy, but you know what? It's a lagging indicator, because they're dealing with jobs that they took in contracted maybe a year ago or 6 months ago. But when you really get out there, like you said, to the grocery store, to the restaurants, just in everyday life, you are hearing it. People are stressed. People are relying on credit cards. I mean, I just was meeting with a gentleman the other day. I mean, they're literally living on a credit card right now. Some things going on, but that makes perfect sense, because when you look at the credit card or the debts for American households, they're the highest they've ever been. But debt to asset ratios are one of the lowest, because the assets that Americans are holding are significantly appreciated, whether that be stocks or Bitcoin or your home. All those things are appreciated, but yet the cash, that's the big thing. The cash flow is just not there. So people are relying on debt, on credit cards, and it's just, it's all going to get to this point where it's just got to pop, right? Like the economy can't continue to grow and remain overheated, and you can't go on with the longest bull run in history without something happening. But the big question, the million or billion dollar question, is when? And nobody can answer that. Nobody.
Yeah. And right as you say that, this pops this morning, breaking news, Alphabet stock pops another 7% after the Google avoids breakup in an antitrust case. And, we've been talking about the magnificent seven that, lead the way in the S&P 500. And Alphabet's obviously a big part of that. And it just continues to climb, continues to pump the markets up. And it's pretty amazing. And I don't know much about the antitrust case. Chris, do you by chance?
No, I really don't. I mean, I didn't follow any of that, but obviously all done now. But I mean, Google's got so much money. I mean, how much of that was just paid off?
Right. Exactly. And that's what I was wondering, it says, what does that actually look like in real life? I mean, that means Google will still be able to pay Apple the billions of dollars it does to be the default search engine on iPhones. I mean, Google will not have to divest from Chrome. I mean, now, what do you think about these antitrust cases? I mean, to me, it's like Google's built this. Why take it all away from them? I believe that happened back in the day with Microsoft, right? When they got broken up, or, I mean, I can see both sides of it. It's an interesting American law, though.
I don't really know how to say that. I mean, I see both sides of it. I certainly do. I see where they could be viewed as a monopoly, but I also see that there's competition, very prevalent competition. And hey, it's capitalism, right? That's what America should be. I'm not going to say that's what it is, but it's a capitalistic, country. Well, I say that very loosely these days. But let's move on to the next thing, Stephen. You know, we just talked about how the economic numbers have been revised upward and everything's doing good. But you'll notice that everything we just said was AI and tech and tech and tech.
Stocks.
Yep. The Magnificent Seven. But let's flip over to the other one where we talk about U.S. manufacturing it's contracting for the 6th straight month. And I love how all the news stations throw in there, oh, the tariff drag. It's always the tariffs. Blame the tariffs. Blame Trump. Blame everything you want. But like it's not just that things are slowing down. But when you look at it, the U.S. manufacturing has shrunk for 6 straight months, falling to a PMI of 48.7 in August. Now, this is important to understand. Some factory managers are liking this current environment to that of what would be worse than the Great Recession. So manufacturing companies are struggling. I mean, I think we got it in here. I was reading it, John Deere, like the $300 million loss. So, I mean, manufacturing, when you think about the United States of America, was the backbone, but it was the backbone of a prior generation. Is it not the backbone moving forward? Is it not the importance? Now, I know the Trump administration has said, let's bring manufacturing back to U.S. soil. But what you're seeing right now is you're seeing major pressures against manufacturing. So we just talked about how economic, numbers are revised up and how tech and AI and everything is doing wonderful. But then over on the other side, manufacturing is sucking wind right now. Like they're saying it's worse than the Great Recession. I mean, so when you look at this, what do you believe, right? What do you base your numbers on? How do you actually base your numbers on anything? Because is it tech that's going to take us into the future? Which clearly that's a stupid statement because yes, of course, tech and AI is the future, but manufacturing is also a huge part of that as well. But in the United States, I mean, listen, from how I look at it, we've given all the manufacturing away. We have, right? I mean, all the manufacturing went overseas and now we're trying to bring it all back with the tariffs, but that's a whole nother topic. What are your thoughts, Stephen? How bad is the manufacturing stuff looking right now?
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of the tariffs was to bring, manufacturing back to the US and increase all of those jobs. And so, it's definitely gonna be one of those things where it's a trailing, it's going to take some time for that to take effect. And so, all we can do is, hope that, what is going on with the tariffs and how we are making these moves globally, that, over time that we reverse this trend that we're seeing right now with manufacturing contracting and dropping. Maybe that's, why we're doing what we're doing, to try and to reverse course on that and save it before it collapses. Because if we do get into another Great Recession, towards a depression, any kind of crash like that, it's not going to be good. So I think we're like right on that line right now. Which way can it go? And we're teetering. And that's why it's so important to pay attention to this stuff and know what's going on, because you don't want to be caught with the bag when this stuff starts to drop.
And one of the things that's been really difficult, to really get a gauge on the economics, right, is it's so political right now. It's polarizing, really. You really can't get away from the polarizing politics. And it just really kind of muddles the whole thing. I mean, you got some economists, because, like we always say, we get a lot of our information from economic newsletters and economic white papers that we subscribe to. And even in these things, I mean, they've even the economists that write these things, they've gone heavily political because it's hard not to right now. And it's such a divided thing that if you're going for ratings, you're going for, sales, you're going politics, you're going with that polarizing split. And that's what you're seeing here. You're literally seeing a polarizing effect on the economy when one side of it is raving and just on fire, and blowing out earnings and everything else. And stocks are still popping, making all-time highs. But then in the manufacturing sector, which does make up some of the S&P 500, like you can look at it, there's a lot of manufacturing companies in there, like they're really struggling. And that brings me to the next thing. And I think this is something you can't ignore. I really don't know how to quantify it, but you can't ignore it. And that is consumer confidence. Consumer confidence would be, how confident are you and I? How confident are Americans about the future, about the economy, about all these things we're talking about? Well, the Wall Street Journal just did a poll and they revealed record low consumer confidence. Only 25% believe they can improve their standard of living through hard work, the lowest level since 1987, while 70% feel the American dream is slipping away, even though traditional indicators like inflation, unemployment are relatively stable and unemployment's supposedly low, whether the numbers are cooked or who knows. So again, you can kind of see where on this show, we're always trying to kind of talk about the news, the economy, the markets, but you got almost two stories you got to tell. You got to tell the AI, Magnificent Seven, the good, everything's perfect, everything's great story. And then you come over to the other side and you talk about manufacturing and consumer confidence. And consumer confidence is a huge one. That's the sentiment, right? If people aren't feeling like their hard work is going to be rewarded, if they don't feel like extra work is going to get them further ahead, well, then you lose productivity. So when you talk about the economy, it's built on three things: short-term debt cycle, long-term debt cycle, and productivity. Productivity, arguably the most important thing. How productive is the workforce? Well, there you go. 70% feel like the American dream is slipping away. How confident does that make you feel? So eventually, like, where do these all come to, where do they come to the crossroads? Where does the economy, where does the tech sector, the manufacturing sector, and the consumer confidence, of the buyers, the consumers, all come together? And I guess they got to have a little powwow here. They got to have a PTA meeting or whatever you want to call it. Anything you want to say on this one? It's just, you just really don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. A lot of it also, I feel like, is, what people constantly hear and are told, meaning, and I feel like in the last decade or two, it's just been a lot of, hey, work less hard. Let's move to a 4-day work week. Let's get, get rid of overtime. All that, you need to be given more. We need more handouts. We need all this stuff given to us. And so I feel like some of it's that maybe, to say there's no opportunity out there. Luckily, Chris, maybe, we're in a bubble, so maybe we don't see it completely, because in our business, we work primarily with people that actively want to do better in life. They know that things are not going to be given to them. And so we have the opportunity to meet somebody when they're reading stuff online, they're watching YouTube videos, they're actively trying to make themselves better. And at that point, that's when we get to talk with them on the phone. We meet them at events. We talk with them on chats like this and on our webinars. And so we get to watch them go from where they're just learning a new concept to take control of their financial life to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, where they've become unbelievably successful. They've reached a lot of their goals that they set for themselves several years back. And so we have that opportunity, Chris, to work with people that are in that right mindset and are actively trying to do better for themselves, where I feel like there's a lot of people out there in this world that just feel like life should be easy and their boss should give them everything and the government should give them everything. When you look at this, you break this down by political party, 90% of Democrats are the ones that hold that negative view. And if you look at what the Democratic platform is today, it's socialism. It's everything's given to you. You don't have to work hard anymore. And so you see those numbers kind of correspond. And to me, that's the wrong direction that we should be going in as a country. So I think that's more the fundamental, on all of this. But it's my thoughts.
No, I agree. And, we did an awesome webinar last night. We got to talk to a lot of people, and so much of this consumer confidence that we're talking about here comes down to mindset. It's really just people just have a negative mindset. But I want to go into one thing that, I've seen this throughout my life, but I've seen it more in the last 2 years than ever before. Actually, I would say the last 4 years, more so than ever in my life. And that is, if you give people something for nothing, they just don't value it. It becomes, it was once a luxury and now it's just expected, right? So when all these handouts started happening, we'll go back even a little further to COVID, it just sort of built this mindset of entitlement. And I'll tell you this right now, we've been talking about this a lot internally, and, some of about, like the software that we've created called the Vault, revolutionary software, going to change the infinite banking community and infinite banking, entire industry forever. It's that revolutionary. But when we were talking about it, we initially did a beta test and we gave it to a whole bunch of people who said that they wanted it, said that they would test it. We gave it to them for free. And less than 2% of all the beta testers that we gave the software to for free even logged in. And then of the ones that logged in, they barely used it and they barely gave us any feedback. Then, way ahead of schedule, we did a super soft launch of the vault and we put it out there and we charged. Okay. And we had a tremendous response to that. I mean, it was like not even an effort, but a bunch of people got in, a bunch of people paid for the membership. They are using the hell out of it and giving us tremendous feedback and literally using it to better themselves. So think about that. One group, if we did a test and we said, okay, one group was given this amazing revolutionary software completely free, and all these people said that they wanted it, but they hardly used it. Then on the other side, we charged another group about the equal size, a monthly charge for the software, and they're using the hell out of it. So when you take that down to like the state of the, economic landscape and just the state of where we're at just as people, when people are given something that they didn't have to work for, it becomes expected. They have no value for it, and they start expecting more and more. And Stephen, you just summed it up. That is literally where we are at. A bunch of entitled people that want everything handed to them. And I'm not going to take sides, but the numbers don't lie. 90% of Democrats feel that, that everything's falling apart. 55% of Republicans have felt the same way, but I have to believe that's a lot of it. Our ancestors, our grandparents, man, they worked their tails off. They walked to school up a hill both ways. You guys have all heard that. But you know what? They understood the value of hard work. They understood the value of productivity. So when you look at the economy and you look at what's going on, like, doesn't come as any surprise. We've literally built this into people that they should just be given things. I don't know, Stephen. I know that it would piss some people off here, but it's the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts.
Yeah. And it starts with the top. I mean, it starts with our political leadership. And unfortunately, it's almost become a game of reality TV. Even Donald Trump, literally was a reality TV star, but we see it now throughout politics, whether it's, people in Congress, whether it's senators, whether it's Congress or council people. I'll play this quick little short video. It's 40 seconds long, but this is a Los Angeles, California. So Los Angeles, one of the largest cities in the world. So this is a Los Angeles City councilwoman, talking about how her contribution to housing affordability in LA was to convince a developer to reduce from a 6-story housing unit to a 3 stories and using the extra space for EV chargers. Just watch this for a second. And this is the people that are leading us.
Great. That's important. But are you focused on what will ultimately make California affordable for the people in your district?
Well, I am. By law, I really have no jurisdiction anymore because it's an ED1, right? But we still, as a team, got together with the developer, the high school across the street, other stakeholders. And instead of building something that was potentially 6 stories, we got it down to 3 stories. And we also got the developer to also work with us to make sure that it helps the families of the area. We also said, instead of a ton of office space, we do want you to also incorporate a few more parking lots and EV chargers. So yeah, there's some developers that have built housing.
You see the guy on the left, he's rolling his eyes.
Oh my gosh.
What? So just like these people that are now in charge of making these rules and laws and zoning and all this stuff just are completely clueless to the real world. It's wild, man.
Unbelievable. I'm not even going to comment on that. I'm just not.
Yeah,
I love Wendy up here in IG said the 4-day work week aligns the time differently, not necessarily less work. They are 10-hour days and finding success in Europe. So I've got no issue with that, none whatsoever. And Wendy then said, don't know if this would work in America, just mentioning. So it doesn't matter how many days a week you work. Productivity is productivity. And down here, I can't remember who said it. I think it was in the comments here. Shane said, I noticed the incentive to work is gone. Everybody gets paid the same to do the job, even if your skill set produces more for the company. The value of having an absolute machine on the team is not rewarded. While they just do enough to get by, people don't care and receive the same paycheck. So here's what I'm going to say to every single one of you listening. We got a pretty good audience here today. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, there's never been a period of time in history ever that has presented a better opportunity to get ahead, to rise above, to make more, to build wealth, to be what you want to be in life and to get what you want from life. Because we literally live in a society where people are just doing just enough. And all these stats go into this. And listen, like, it's not what I'm carved from, and it's not what my team is carved from. So we all don't even understand this mindset. But the idea of you go to work, you just do just enough to get by, and you just punch in and you punch out every day, and all you're doing is just enough to do the bare minimum so you don't get fired. But then let's just say somebody joins an organization, and they're somebody like all of you, a go-getter, somebody that really, really understands the value of productivity and wants to get ahead. And they come in and they do 1% more than everybody else. Fast forward 2, 3, 4 years, that person that did 1% more, where are they at? They're probably the CEO of the company. Think of how easy that was. That was 1% more than everybody else. That is how easy it is right now to get ahead. I mentioned this before, but I was at a fair a couple weeks ago, and we're walking around, and there was this young kid working for one of those window companies, and all of you have seen those. And this kid came up and literally found commonality with me, with something. I think it was like what I was wearing. I had like a tank top on, but he found commonality, immediately hooked me there into a conversation, started talking about Windows, but in a completely different way. I told him our Windows are relatively new, but he continued. He didn't just stop right there, because that would be doing just enough, right? If I tell you I'm not interested in Windows. He pivoted the conversation to something completely different. And I'm like, wow, this guy's good. Continued to relate, continued to be able to keep the conversation going. That was 1% more. I would hire that dude. That dude will go on to make hundreds of thousands of dollars because he's doing just a little bit more. Because the other guys at that window place, where they were just sitting there, and they would say, hey, Windows, anyone need Windows? How old are your Windows? They would do just enough. And then there was this one guy that did just a little bit more, and he stood out. Think about that, folks. Just like let that sink in. You just have to do a little bit more. You just have to do what everybody else is unwilling to do, and you will rise above. It will take some time, okay, but you will become the leader. You will become the one that everybody looks up to, and that everybody sits there and says, like, how did you do it? How did you end up becoming the CEO? I did 1% more than you. I did what you were unwilling to do. I stayed 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, an hour later. I showed up 15 minutes earlier every day. I worked through lunch when you went off and did lunch and spent the money. I saved it. Like, think about that. That's it. Crazy to think like that. But it's also crazy to think like that because, listen, I will tell you something right now. We touch tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people on a weekly basis with our marketing. And we've got this amazing event coming up. Okay. It's this 2-day infinite banking intensive. That's what we're calling it. Okay. It's basically a deep dive into infinite banking. We got our entire team together, and everybody said, hey, this is what I feel I'm an expert in, and I'm going to cover this topic. We've never done it that way. It's always kind of just been, we've just talk through the whole thing, where now each of our team has gotten the ability to rise above, to talk about the one thing that they feel they can make a difference in, the one thing they feel they're strong in. And we're doing this for 2 days. This IBC training that we're doing, we've never done something like this. It's $47 to attend. Why is it $47? Because we literally talked about doing it for free. But you know what? People that we do 6 webinars every single week, totally free. This one, 2 days, $47. It's just enough to get someone to take it seriously, because if they pay for it, like I said, they take it seriously. And just the results we'll get from this 2-day, we will change people's lives. Stephen, do you want to talk a little bit about what we're doing? Because it's coming up soon. So folks, if you haven't heard about it, now would be the time to get your tickets. And some of you are going to be like, oh, I can't those days. I'm busy. I got this. Excuses, but that's fine. we're going to record the whole thing. We're going to edit the whole thing. Sean is going to timestamp it. So you can pay the $47. You'll get all the recordings. You can use them forever, share them, give them to your family, whatever you want to do. And they will all be timestamped so you can watch just what you need when you need it.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I mean, just to kind of give you a quick little like agenda of what's going to be going on. You know, we're going to open up talking about money flow and control. We're going to get into mindset. You know, what does this look like for you? Different ways to like kind of envision, because when you change your mindset, you know, it helps when you can kind of have a vision of what that looks like into the future. And so we're going to spend some time at the beginning really setting that up. Like, where are you now and what can that look like moving forward? And to me, that the roadmap of it is just as important as the actual implementation of it all. So we want to make sure we set the stage right from the very beginning. And this does start on Friday, September 12th. So coming up in just 2 weeks, Chris, 2 weeks at 10 a.m. Eastern. So we're going to kick it off first thing in the morning, and we're going to go right through till the end of the day with it on both days. So we're going to get into the mindset. We're going to talk about probability. You know, what does this look like? How IBC actually works without the fluff. So, you know, 2 days sounds like a lot of time, but we could teach this class for 2 months. Like, the amount of knowledge that our team has, Chris, like, so we want to really break it down and just give you no fluff. Like, this is exactly what's going on. We're going to talk about how the policy, everything, how it's simplified with the vault. We're going to talk about different threats, how debt can be the number one threat in your life, and how to actually use your debts and expenses to build wealth. We're going to talk about emergency funds and family protection. So what it looks like having a hierarchy of needs, which I think is a really, really cool segment that we're going to do. Of course, we're going to get into real estate and how becoming your own bank is so important when it comes to real estate investing, and what it can look like whether you're on the active or the passive side, because so many people think, oh, I can't do real estate investing because I don't have, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix these houses, or I don't have money to go out there and buy these properties, things like that. Whether you're on the active or the passive side, you don't feel like you have the time to do it. You know, there's different strategies. So we're definitely getting into a lot about real estate and what that looks like, regardless of where you're starting right now today. We're going to talk about retirement and one of my favorite topics, which is legacy. So how we're actually going to create legacy. And that's all only on day one, Chris. And then we're going to get into some of the technical sides of how these policies are funded and different types of policy designs to meet different goals that you might have, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. What if, you know, life happens? So what are those unknowns that could occur, and how does that affect what you're doing by becoming your own bank? How to start scaling your systems. So we're going to talk about family banking, stacking policies, how to grow your banking system. And then we're going to talk about money with a mission. So writing that family constitution into the future. So those are some of the topics we're going to talk about during the 2 days. We'll be there the whole time. Our team will be there the whole time answering questions. So really looking forward to a couple weeks from now and really launching that. It's going to be, I think it'd be safe to say it'll probably be the best 2-day virtual training we've ever done, Chris.
Yeah. So what all of you need to do is go to that website, beyourownbank.com/BYOB, and just get your ticket. That's it. That's in order. I had to try that anyway. All right. Well, let's move on to What the F USA. USA.
My fellow Americans.
So you know the thing. Oh, I love this topic, Stephen. This is my favorite section. They're all my favorite, but this one definitely, you know, because we get to talk about what's going on. We get to rant and rave about what's going on U.S. soil. And dude, I haven't really dug deep into this, and I know we kind of had like a little sidebar with our friend James, you know, who comes from the Democratic side of everything. We had him on last week. Some of you loved it, some of you hated it, but it was fun. It mixed it up, right? We had some nice.
He did. Just so you guys know, if you're looking for James, he said he'll be back on September 17th. So join us September 17th for another fun. And I have a bunch of stuff. I didn't know if it's going to be on today, like going back to what we talked about last week with Chicago and Baltimore and some of these different cities. I know we're going to hit some of it today, but I do want to save some of that because I don't think it's fair without his responses. But we're running a little behind here anyways, Chris, so maybe we can skip some of that Chicago stuff. But yeah, having James on is a lot of fun. He's a great guy. So if you guys don't know James, he's the He's the mind behind a lot of Chris's Instagram content, a lot of the stories that are posted, and James is always out there. He does a great job with content of that nature for sure. He knows his stuff. But all right, go ahead, Chris.
So this is an interesting thing, and I'm sure you've all seen it. Like we got all these tariffs going in, and Trump's out there, making deals happen, playing the art of war or the art of the deal, whichever one you want to do it. They're basically the same. And he's making these deals that are, getting commitments from these countries to bring billions and billions and billions of dollars of business here, and not just business, but industry here and manufacturing here and all this stuff. And he's doing it with tariffs, and the tariffs are raising tens of billions. And I don't have the exact number, but like definitely moving the needle. And we can see in the past, the tariffs have been very positive from a standpoint of revenue for a country. But then all of a sudden you've got, everything's going well. You see Trump out there making his rounds, going to all these countries, speaking to world leaders and striking deals. And they both seem to be like super psyched about it. But then all of a sudden on our own freaking soil, we got the federal judges coming in, the appeals court coming in saying it's illegal. Stephen, like, I don't even know where to start here, but like, how can we have a judicial system where literally things are working, it's going into force, everything's happening, like, the world leaders are getting along, like there's not talk of war, there's ceasefires, there's all the, all these things are seemingly moving in the right direction, especially for the U.S. revenue standpoint, which hopefully would then reduce deficit, which is a whole nother topic. But now all of a sudden, they're literally stopping it. Right here, a federal appeals court ruled that President Trump's unilateral imposition of broad tariffs was illegal, prompting a push for a rapid Supreme Court review. The decision threatens a significant portion of anticipated tariff revenue, roughly half of this year's and 70% of next year's, triggering massive market turbulence. Of course it's going to. And Trump responds, he's going to ask the Supreme Court for an expedited ruling to overturn this appeals court decision. Like, how can that even happen? Like, everything's going, like, deals are made, things are happening, commitments are pledged to bring business here, and then our own court system steps in and says, oh, it's illegal. And James had a unique take on this. He's like, oh, there was prior deals done, blah, blah, blah. Like, who cares? Like, where did anyone have an issue with this? And why now, after all the deals are inked and struck and done, now our own court system, I'm sorry, this fucking pisses me off. Like, Stephen, does it piss you off? It just seems like complete, utter nonsense. And maybe I'm missing something here. Please, if somebody has info that I don't, like, what am I missing here?
It's so you have to kind of take a step back and look at the last, I don't know, several decades, I guess, and the trend of the way that American politics has gone. First off, it's become much more divisive, much more tribal. You're either on one team or the other, but more, fundamentally, the more fundamental issue over the last couple of decades is we've gone away from, single issue voting and single issue bills. And we've gone to these big, we talked about last week a little bit, these big omnibus packages, these big, huge things that we vote on that are just full of tons of different laws and different everything, trillions and trillions of dollars we vote on instead of single voting. And so it's hard to pass some of that stuff. It's hard to do it in a timely manner. We can't pass law. So what the presidents have done over the last couple of decades is they've moved away from allowing Congress to make laws, and they've moved into this world where everything is done now through executive order. Now, the issue with executive orders are anybody can do them and anybody can cancel them. So all the executive orders that Trump is doing right now, let's say a Democrat president gets in a few years from now, he can simply, with the strike of a pen or an auto pen in Biden's case, he can change all of those right back. He can create his own. So we've gone away from really the three branches of government and Congress setting laws and making laws to the president striking a pen and doing these executive orders. So to me, it's we're going to continue to see this where, the presidency says one thing, then the judicial branch comes in and these judges, change it. And because it's so divided right now and so political, anything that a judge can do that's on one side of the aisle, even the judges are supposed to be, bipartisan and all that. Obviously that's clearly not true. And so they come in and they do this, and it's a fundamental problem. And I don't think we see a solution. I don't think it's going to get better. But I don't know where it ends. Like, I don't know how we get better with it. So it does piss me off because, you think that the president has to control. The tariffs are good. It's making things, heading the country in the right direction. But then this political judge comes in and just completely reverses it. But we'll see what the Supreme Court does, because we still are a country of laws and fundamentals. So it gets appealed up to the Supreme Court. Let the Supreme Court make the ultimate decision. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how the Supreme Court looks at this and how they rule on it. And, it to me, and this isn't the only example. Listen, like we're 9 months into 2025. So we've got 9 months here. Like, there's no surprise here that these tariffs were happening. Everything's been moving in the right direction. And now, all you've seen is these lower courts just kind of come in there and just make noise and try to stop these things. Literally, like, if you've got a president running a country, yes, I know there's rules and all stuff like you were mentioning, but trying to make things better. And then all of a sudden, like they always said, like, the United States or any power, any, governing or not governing power, any country, I'm trying to think of the way to say it, but they're destroyed from within, like Rome, like from within. And you see this happening like live. It's like watching a sitcom. It's like watching a Netflix show. Like, literally, you watch the United States be gutted from the inside out. The other countries like Russia and China and India, like, they're sitting back just being like, I'll just let them destroy themselves. And that's exactly what's happening. It's sick to see it happen, especially when you got a lot of forward momentum over a 9-month span of like just sheer negotiating skills. I mean, and then all of a sudden the courts come in like, it's illegal. The other countries didn't seem to really mind. They are actually seemingly happy, or at least so it seems, but I don't know. What do you even believe? So I don't know. More on this later. We're going to continue to cover this. Obviously, it's going to be top news, I'm sure for weeks to come, and it's all going to come down to the Supreme Court ruling as to whether or not is this illegal, or are they going to grant it? I mean, can the president even run the country anymore? Like, does the president even have the power to be the person who runs the show? I don't know. Doesn't almost seem like that. And well, I guess in other news, there's some big disruptions coming to the financial advisory world. So
and let's hope that this ruling does not get overturned by some Democrat judge that watches a show that gets pissed off on this. But Chris, I'll let you announce it, because it's definitely big worldwide news.
This is definitely going to shake shit up. All right. That's all I can say. So, some of you have maybe heard rumors of this, but it's been 2 years in the making, and they finally did it. So this is newsworthy, of course. PMC Wealth is looking to flip the advisory world on its head by offering a new way of providing investment and financial advice focused on retainer-based planning, active cash management, and independent advisor oversight, rather than the traditional AUM model that Stephen and I come from. So, Stephen, we both were financial advisors, and that industry hasn't really changed for hundreds of years, probably, I guess, if you really think about it. There's been minor changes, but it's always been based around an advisor will give you advice on assets that they are hired to manage for you. But a lot of people, like, I know this, when I was an advisor, a lot of people had accounts held outside of what we managed, like a 401k. And I know the firm I used to work for, we really weren't supposed to give investment advice on their 401k because we didn't manage it. We didn't build the portfolio. We weren't supposed to give financial advice on other accounts out there. But the clients always were like, yeah, but you're my financial advisor. I need a holistic look at this. But that just isn't the way it works. And most advisors won't give advice on the things that they don't get paid on. So I know that, like, listen, like, when I was an advisor, like, I wouldn't manage people's cash. I wouldn't tell them, oh, let's move this to a higher yielding savings account. Let's find a better yield on your safe money. Like, no, I was always like, well, let's take that safe money and let's move that over, to this place where I get paid on it. And that, Stephen, is kind of exactly what PMC is disrupting. So you got Brandon, and you got, he's going to be, leading this as the principal and the chief compliance officer. And I think they're just going to crush it with this. I mean, this is so revolutionary to the advisory world. It's going to flip it upside down. It's going to piss some people off. That's what it's going to do. What's your take on this?
No, I love it, man. I mean, we've talked about it. I was a financial advisor with Ameriprise Financial, basically right out of college. I had just moved down to South Florida from Virginia, where I grew up. I got a job at a car dealership because that's what I knew. I helped my dad when I was younger. He had a buy here, pay here used car dealership. I had, put myself through college working as a carpenter's assistant in the construction industry, realized manual labor was probably not for me for the rest of my life. It was a great experience. It allows me to, be able to do stuff around the house and do little home improvements and things like that with that experience from college that with that. But I knew that I wanted to do something differently. I understood cars and sales. So when I moved to South Florida, that was the first job I got. I met a gentleman who had just retired from Ameriprise Financial and was kind of doing cars part-time on the side. And, I talked with them throughout the day because car sales are kind of slow. You sit around a lot of the time. And so we would chat and he'd always ask me like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just moved to South Florida. I'm enjoying myself. I'm going out at night. I'm having a good time. And he's like, have you ever thought about finance and money and things like that? He's like, I think you'd be good at it. And I was like, not really. But, so he talked me into it. I went and interviewed, got the licenses, Series 7, 66, variable annuity insurance, et cetera, and got hired by Ameriprise Financial. And, I was there for a couple of years. And, during those 2 years, I never got taught how to manage people's funds. I was taught how to sell. I was taught how to cold call. I was taught scripts. I was taught how to promote and sell their products, Riverside Annuities, Riverside Funds, everything that Ameriprise Financial offered. Like you said, not advising on other investments and things like that, but it was all about sales. And so obviously, I left that, got into real estate investing, and the rest is history. It's why I'm here today. But, with that experience, it really opened up my eyes to the traditional financial markets and what that looked like. And Chris, I know you did it a lot longer than I, 16 years with New York Life. But, at the end of the day, that's what PMC Wealth Advisors is all about. It's where are you now? What do you want to do? And let's advise you on that. I mean, how many people are part of Private Money Club and they look at these private funds and they look at these different syndication deals. They look at all these different options out there for investing in real estate, but have no understanding about it. But who do you go to for help? A traditional advisor is not going to show you how to invest in somebody else's real estate deal, right? And so PMC Wealth Advisors, our team's going to be able to analyze these deals, show you the pros and cons, and recommend different things like that, which to me, it's so cool because it's what it's all about is controlling your wealth, controlling your future. But now you got this little guy on your shoulder that's going to be able to help you along the way. So I think it's amazing compared to the world that we came from.
It's a complete disruption. And, I know that's, I've talked to Brandon a bunch about it, and that's exactly why it took so long to get PMC Wealth up and running and get it to this point where like they're boots on the ground now. Like they got all the stuff they need. They're PMC Wealth is ready to rock. And Brandon, was explaining, it's just such a difficult thing to get all this done because it was so different. In the advisory world has always been, this is the way we do things. This is how it is. Like you either comply or like, you're not going to do this. And they kept pushing through and they got it open. So PMC Wealth, man, kudos to them. Go get them, boys. Go get them. Because that industry needed a disruption. So super pumped to talk about that. But let's change gears a little bit. And let's talk about downtown, or we can talk about downtown, but we're going to get to Chicago in a second. But let's talk about travel, international travel, way down. You've seen that, Stephen, right? The travel to the U.S. and anywhere else this summer has been way, way down. I think people are scared to travel right now. Like all the stuff. I don't know if it's just a thing, but like every time I seem to turn on Instagram, you see another picture of a plane like going through just crazy turbulence. And I know, Sean and I were on a flight to Aspen a couple years back, and dude, we were kind of circling around the Aspen airport, and every time you'd circle, you'd go through this crazy storm and you just see it coming and you got in it. It was just like, oh my gosh. I know like for pilots, they're like, oh, it's just normal. Like the plane's not going to fall out of the sky. But like, any of you ever been through severe turbulence? Sure feels like you're going to fall out of the sky. You're like, oh my God, we're going down. Sean is like, I can't do it. I don't know. Anyway.
Get out of here. No, I will say one thing though. I just did see this headline. It said that on November 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, It's going to be perfect weather and all clear flights into Orlando, Florida, because the Private Money Club Money Tank event is happening that weekend. So all of you traveling to Orlando from all over the country, don't worry. Headline news says it's going to be clear flights, no turbulence, no delays, and it's going to be a beautiful weekend. So just ignore what Chris just said. We'll see you guys in Orlando.
I just saw this one right here. I guess Buffalo is trying to get the Canadians to come over, so they're giving them gift cards. It's more of that handout, right? Buffalo's like, hey, we'll give you free gift cards to the Canadians. Come on over. Did you what's that all about? The Hill had that. I didn't even look at it, but it doesn't surprise me at all. Canadians aren't wanting to come over to the U.S. anymore.
I don't know, man. What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
Canadian.
All right, let's hit Chicago. You gotta just hit the
Keep
Chicago.
going. Skip Chicago. We're waiting for James.
All right, we're gonna postpone the Chicago discussion.
All right, let's get into what the F. The rest of this stuff's what the F. Let's go. We got 5 minutes left.
Wow, we blew that much time. All right.
Yes.
All right. Let's get into it. Just what the F. What the f? Right. Well, me and my wife were talking about something this morning, and you've probably seen it. It's kind of gone viral. Somebody opened a window at the White House and threw something out. Did you see that, Stephen?
I didn't see the video. I'm going to play it.
Throwing them out the window, which is
saw
really
Trump's
funny.
response, but let me
forget about Trump's response. All right, but go ahead. Yeah, there you go.
Got another one?
Spotted at the White House.
Let me refresh it. Here we go.
Opens.
Did you see it?
But the window didn't actually open. Did you see that?
Yeah, let's stay in that little house.
Watch this closely.
Close the window. Right now, right? Oh, there you go. You got it.
Must have been Trump getting thrown out the window. All right. So first off, let me just give you some facts, and you can all do your due diligence. But I feel like we live in a time where people just don't do any due diligence. They just accept these memes as reality. The White House windows do not open. They are bulletproof. They do not open. Period. End of story. Like, there is no more discussion. You can't open windows at the White House. Go back in time. Look for any other time like where windows are open at the White House. They're bulletproof glass. They don't open. I'm sorry. You're not throwing anything out the window. Discussion over. Unless Stephen has something else. Well, that window did actually open.
Well, that's what Trump. I mean, Trump is what a comedian. I mean, the guy just has the answer to everything.
He looks at it. He's like, people are fucking stupid. That's what he's thinking. It plays into it.
Right now, of the White House, where a window is open to the residents upstairs, and somebody is throwing a big bag out the window. Have you seen this?
No, that's probably AI generated. Actually, you can't open the windows. You know why? They're all heavily armored and bulletproof.
So that's a fake video.
Well, it's got to be, because I know every window up there. The last place I'd be doing it is that, because there's cameras all over the place, right? Including yours. No, but every window, I've never seen a window that's, in fact, my wife was complaining about it the other day. She said, love to have a little fresh air come in, but you can't. They're bulletproof. And number one, they're sealed. And number two, each window weighs about 600 pounds. You have to be pretty strong to open them up. No, that has to be. Where was the window? Let me see.
He shows it to him, but man, Trump's just got the response for everything.
But I mean, think about it. Like, let's say you live in your house, right? Let's say none of your windows open because you painted them shut 16 different times. Like, and your windows don't open, but yet your neighbor says, "Hey, the other day I saw you throwing something out your window," and then you say to your neighbor, you saw something wrong because our windows don't open." Like, Trump's like, they weigh 600 pounds. Like, no one here's opening the window because they don't open. It's funny, but it's just, this is what people spend their time doing. That's the scary part. Anyway, what else? You got drug cartels. I know there was an influencer recently that, disappeared, and they're saying it was kind of, they found him in bags or something. Is that what this discussion is here, Stephen, about that big influencer that supposedly had was like taken out cartel style?
I didn't see that, but this was just last night. The White House put this video out of them bombing a drug boat off the coast of Venezuela, which is wild for the White House to release this video. But let me just, so this is showing it. So it's showing the boat.
Motors, man. That's a fast boat right there.
So it's a drug cartel, the Tren de Aragua Venezuelan gang. I believe Trump, made them a terrorist organization, which boom. So just dropped the bomb and blew the entire boat up. Took out 11 of these drug cartel terrorists. So just amazing the contrast and what we've seen.
Did you see how fast the thing went underwater?
Just like that, man, just gone.
Woo.
Yeah, so it's pretty wild to see. In other news, RFK has been making a lot of splashes. If you've been following that, Chris, he's really been going after the vaccine industries and what is the cause of autism? Supposedly, he's coming out with a huge announcement later this month about the causes of autism and what they've been able to find and kind of uncover. And you see, so you see this guy, CNN, ABC brought this guy on all weekend talking about, how I predict that what they're going to do is try to change the birth dose and blah, blah, blah of hepatitis B. This guy's like talking trash about RFK and what's going on. But you look at, who is this guy, Chris? I mean, look at this guy. So you want to take medical advice from this fucking wacko? Like this is the kind of stuff that Democrats.
Looks like he's eating well. He's got a good diet going on.
At least he's eating well, but you can just show video after video of MSNBC, CNN having this guy on.
Funny. He cleans up nice.
He does. And listen, I'm not going to talk about someone's personal life. Do what you want, but maybe we don't take health advice from somebody like that. What do you think?
Yeah. That might not be a good idea, or it might not be a bad idea to, however you say
what
that.
WTF type things. But I do want to, one last thing here. This is kind of a positive story. We talk a lot of negativity on this show a lot because that's what the news is all about these days. But we talked about college football season to open up. Somebody that I used to dislike kind of a bit, Mr. Tim Tebow, of course, known to be a Florida Gator, beat the Seminoles up, and then famously was the quarterback for the Denver Broncos in a playoff game that put the Pittsburgh Steelers out that season. Again, I'm a big Steelers fan, so not the biggest fan of Tim Tebow, but I had the opportunity to beat him a couple years ago. Unbelievable guy in real life. Just he really stands and believes in what he believes in, and we're going to meet him again. You can't make this trip, but in a few weeks I'll be over in Tampa, and Tim Tebow will be there while I'm there, so I get to hang out with him again. Just unbelievable guy. So I thought this was a great story from this past weekend. He was up in he was at the Tennessee Syracuse game, and they brought him out to open up. So I'm just going to play this, Chris. It's 50 seconds, but in 2025 you don't see this often anymore. I just thought this was a really cool thing that they did, and Tim Tebow was able to do in front of 100,000 fans.
Good and gracious Heavenly Father, we love you today because you first loved us. We love you because while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. And we thank you today that you sent Jesus on the greatest love story rescue mission of all time to do for us what we could not do for ourselves, to go to the cross and defeat sin and death and do it for us on our behalf. And we thank you for that. We cannot earn it, we do not deserve it, but today we say thank you. Thank you for your love, thank you for your grace. And if anybody doesn't know you, we pray that today they would say yes to you because you said yes to them on the cross. We love you because you first loved us, and we are beyond grateful. Thank you, Jesus. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
That's beautiful, man. You wouldn't have saw that a couple years ago.
Absolutely love it. And I'm not even a very religious person, and that just gives me chills to see. I mean, at the end of the day, religion, family, that's what this world is built on. That's what this country was built on, I should say. That's what this world is all about. And so seeing that message in front of all those people, national television, just a beautiful thing, in my opinion, right there.
Yeah. Another beautiful thing. You seen the White House's new profile picture on LinkedIn?
No, I did hear this. I haven't seen it yet, though.
That's another beautiful thing. Yeah. But with that, the only other thing I'll mention is that this Thursday coming up, so tomorrow, September 4th, we've got our live money tank pop-up that we do every single month out here in Buffalo. We got another one coming up out in Texas too, but this is the Buffalo one. So it's going to be this Thursday. If any of you are from the Buffalo area or around, feel free to join us. No cost. 6 p.m. and we go usually till about 9. It's a great networking event. We got a really cool topic this week. We've got a contractor, we got a big house flipper, and then me all kind of, doing a whole training. But you know what? Listen, a lot of you don't live in Buffalo, New York. I get it. So you can all join us virtually by going on to my YouTube channel at the Chris Naugle, and we'll be streaming live to YouTube, to Facebook. You're all here, so we're going to be streaming live to the exact same thing. So if you want to join us, 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and it's going to be just a lot of fun. We really enjoy these events. So feel free to join us. With that being said, do not forget, folks, 1 o'clock this afternoon, we got Mr. Garrett Gunderson coming on. We're going to be talking about financial legacy. We're going to be talking about how the wealthy get and stay that way, and how you can too. One right from what would the Rockefellers do? So create a financial and family legacy that lasts for generations well after you're gone. Now we're going to be hitting that at 1 o'clock. Stephen, anything else you want to hit as we wrap up this episode of WTF?
I love it, man. It's a nice little break in the day to do this show once a week for an hour, but back to work now. A lot of big things happening, and we're going to continue to bring you guys as much value and financial strategies as we can, because we're in turmoil times. And like we always say internally, Chris, the crazier it gets out there, the safer and more guaranteed it gets in here where we are. And so we'll continue to bring that to you guys. Appreciate all of you watching the show, and we'll see you same time, same place next week, if not at 1 o'clock Eastern today for Wealth Webinar. Thanks,
awesome.
Guys.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us for this episode. We'll see you this afternoon. Until then, enjoy your day.